Hi, and welcome to Northwest Brew Talk. I'm Mike Rizzo.
And I'm Michelle Rizzo.
And this is episode number 15. We'll have an interview with Tom from Paradise Creek Brewing, our brew news and views, and local music from the Spider Ferns.
If you have any comments or questions, send us an email to nwbrewtalk@gmail.com. We are on Twitter at NW Brew Talk and on Facebook at facebook.com/NW Brew Talk. To start the show, let's open our first beer.
All right, this is Sieben Brau from Silver City, and it has 4.8% ABV and a great-looking can.
Silver City Brewery has been a Kitsap staple since its inception in Silverdale, Washington in September of 1996. Brothers Scott and Steve Humes, local restaurateurs since 1990, shared a vision of bringing a world-class brewpub restaurant to the West Sound. The brothers teamed up with local Thomas Kemper, brewer and founder of the West Sound Brewers Club brewmaster, Big Daddy Don Spencer. In May of 2010, Silver City opened its new production facility in Bremerton, Washington, and ceased brewing operations in Silverdale. The 7,600 square foot Bremerton facility allowed Silver City the room to grow with demand. Silver City beer is available in bars, restaurants, grocery, and convenience stores in the Puget Sound area. Silver City fans can pick up kegs directly at the Bremerton Brewery that will feature a tasting room sometime in the future. The newly remodeled flagship restaurant in Silverdale has extended seating capacity to the old brewery room and has a fresh new look throughout.
And this is a very golden beer, but very malty flavor. It's pretty good.
Sieben Brau, which means seventh brew, is a merger of traditional German ingredients and brew process with Northwest hopping. Sieben Brau is a crisp and bright lager with just a touch of sweetness that combines the bready lager character with a spice of the noble variety hops. This makes for a beer that's sure to make the celebration of Seattle Beer Week number 7 a festive one.
Definitely. That's a good beer. I like that. And their can is awesome. And now, onto our brew. News and views.
The big news this week is the 7th annual Seattle Beer Week starts tomorrow, Thursday, May 7th. Opening night events include the tapping of the official beer by Silver City at multiple locations, Cask-O-Rama at Beverage Place Pub, Mac and Jack Brewers Night at Canterbury. The official Seattle Beer Week kickoff has 5 stops across the city. There are events across the area celebrating beer and all that is Seattle. Visit seattlebeerweek.com for full event listings. Also announced last week was the lineup for the Washington Brewers Festival, June 19th through 21st in Merrimore Park in Redmond. This is a big event with 105 breweries pouring over 400 different beers. Friday the 19th is 21 and over, but Saturday and Sunday, Father's Day weekend, are all ages. Live music, food trucks, and children's play area are some of the features. Everyone 21 and older will receive a souvenir taster glass and 10 tasting tokens. This is the largest Washington-only craft brew festival ever.
Awesome. And we will be in attendance on that. Now, in a story that ran in the business journal, Craft Brew Alliance, Inc. said it dramatically cut the amount of water it uses to produce their beers in 2014. The industry average to produce a gallon of beer is 6 to 8 gallons of water. In 2013, Craft Brew used 4.07 gallons of water per gallon of beer, and in 2014, they lowered that to 3.5 gallons of water. They said they saved nearly 8 million gallons of water, lowered their utility bills, and saved about $300,000. They also cut electric consumption by 12.5%, natural gas by 8.8%, and their sewer by 18.9%. Red Hook Brewery in Woodinville, one of the breweries in the Alliance, saved 55,000 gallons of water on their bottling line by switching to a dry-running conveyor system that earned them the Safer Chemistry Champion Award from the Washington Department of Ecology. At the Widmer facility in Portland, they diverted 99.5% of their waste from landfills, and at the Portsmouth, New Hampshire facility, they purchased wind energy credits, among other things. Craft Brew Alliance is aiming to reduce its energy consumption 3% in 2015.
So, For how long do we need to teach people that no means no? Because apparently Budweiser never got that memo. Bud Light Up for Whatever campaign produced a series of 140 different score messages that were printed on bottles. They were supposed to be funny. One in particular was way off. It read, "The perfect beer for removing no from your vocabulary for the night." Wow, if that doesn't conjure up images of frat houses and rape. After the slogan was viewed on Reddit, Bud Light released a statement backtracking. But according to Francine Katz, one of the highest-ranked women at Anheuser-Busch, she said, quote, "I worked with nearly all men. They didn't consider us their peers," unquote. In 2008, she quit and filed a lawsuit claiming colleagues fostered a locker room atmosphere. She lost her lawsuit claiming gender didn't impact her salary, even though the man she replaced made over $3 million more than her. Anheuser-Busch, you need to fix your message in and outside of your doors.
Definitely. Along with your beer. Lucky Envelope Brewing announced the grand opening of their tasting room tomorrow, Thursday, May 7th, to coincide with Seattle Beer Week. They had their soft opening just Monday. Now, Lucky Envelope is located in the Ballard neighborhood in Seattle. Brewery owners Barry Chan and Raymond Kwan will have 6 beers on tap, as well as homemade soda. Although not even open, they have some lofty goals, including expanding to other states and possibly even internationally. Stoop Brewing, also in Ballard, in Seattle, announced that their beer garden will be opening this Saturday. To coincide, they will release Stoop's Citra IPA, as well as having food and fun during the opening. And lastly, Lazy Boy Brewing in Everett will be celebrating their 9th anniversary this Saturday, May 9th. And that is our brew news and views this week.
Welcome back to Northwest Brew Talk. If you have not yet subscribed to our podcast, why not do it now? It's free, available on iTunes, Podbean, Stitcher, and other sites. And if you like us, a review and rating would be really appreciated. But even more important, tell your friends about NW Brew Talk via social media or whatever way you want.
All right, now let's talk to Tom from Paradise Creek Brewing in Pullman. We're here with Tom Handy from Paradise Creek Brewery in Pullman, Washington. How you doing today, Tom?
I'm doing well, Mike. Thanks.
Awesome. So why don't you give us a little background on the brewery? What got you into the brewing business?
Well, like many others, I started as a home brewer.
Okay.
Way back, probably, I'm losing track now anyway, how long ago it was, but I had a cook that worked for me that was a home brewer, and he suggested that I start brewing, and so I took him up on that, and we went to my shed and set up all of his equipment and did my first batch and got everything to the boil and threw in the first hops, and that aroma just took me over, and I said, I've just got to do more of this. And so that was the very beginning.
About how long ago was that?
It was, I'm thinking about 8 or 9 years ago now.
Okay. And that just the smell of those hops really tickled your brain there, huh?
It got me going, yeah. I just knew that I wanted to smell that aroma more. And so there's only one way of doing that, and that's to be a part of the brewery. So the rest is history. I just kept brewing and trying to perfect a couple of recipes, tried to copy a couple of beers that I really enjoyed, and just kept going. And then when the opportunity came about 6 years ago, I started looking around at different brewing equipment that was for sale, used, and came across some, put together a plan, and away I went.
Okay, so that was 2010 when you opened up, right?
Yeah. Yeah, we served our first batch in about June 1st, I think it was, of 2010.
All right. So what size system are you brewing on?
We've got a 7-barrel system.
Okay. And do you know about how many barrels per year you're doing right now?
Last year we did about 850.
Okay.
It just increases a bit year by year.
Right.
But we're still pretty small production brewery.
Mm-hmm.
We serve mostly our pub. We do have a full brew pub.
Right. So what was that? The first the beer that you brewed for the brewery itself?
Well, it was actually a beer that we called Dirty Blonde at the time. So it was a blonde ale, but it was a little darker. It's more, in reality, like an amber ale. That's why we called it Dirty. But we've since had to change the name of that due to naming conflicts. But that was the very first.
Okay. And looking at your website, I see that you guys you have some fun names with your beer.
We do. It's always, not only fun but challenging as well to come up with names that are unique and hopefully a little clever. We've tried to go that route anyway, and so we spend many hours, deliberating back and forth on what to name our beers.
Well, yeah, definitely. With so many breweries open now, it's becoming even more of a challenge, I guess, for everyone.
Well, it is, and, so one of the problems that everybody has is names that are already used or trademarked or whatever, and so that becomes one of our first issues right now is getting our beer names trademarked.
Oh, yeah.
So that we don't end up having to change names so often every time.
Right. Now, have you had, other than that first one, have you had any issues?
We have. We've actually had to change 3 beer names.
Really?
Yeah. So, in just a short time for a small brewery, that seems like kind of a lot to me. So that's why we take the time to do the research and get our stuff trademarked.
Right. So, are you the sole owner or the founder, or how's that work?
Well, both. Yeah, the founder, but sole owner as well.
Okay. So, what did you use to fund the beginning of the brewery there?
Well, I worked for WSU for about 20 years before that, so I was able to save up a bunch of money.
Okay.
And so I was my funding source myself.
Okay. Well, that's always a good thing.
Yeah. Takes a little bit of the pressure off.
Yeah, definitely.
And you're certainly all in when you do it that way.
Yeah, you don't have time to monkey around. You pretty much have to make it your career.
Yeah.
So I saw you brew quite a few different beers. No particular style, right?
Not in general, no. We try and hit a pretty broad customer base. We've been playing around in Sourland here lately, and, and those are the beers that really kind of intrigue me the most.
Mm-hmm.
But we've got beers that pretty much satisfy everybody's palate. Being in a small town and being the only brewery there, we can't specialize too much and continue to have a lot of people come in. So
right. So that blonde was your first one. Is there any beer that's like a signature beer?
Well, our blonde, our over the hop IPA, and our postal porter are kind of the top 3 beers that we've been doing ever since we opened. So those are the top. Those are the ones that are kind of our signature beers at this point. We do have another beer that we're getting fairly well known for called the Huckleberry Pucker,
mm-hmm.
which is a Berliner Weiss sour beer. And so that's a lot of fun to play with.
Okay, nice. So you're the head brewer then too?
Head brewer, but as time's going on, I'm doing less and less of the brewing myself. As a matter of fact, I do have a brewer that does almost everything, and I only fill in now when he's unable to to do it. So.
Okay. So are any of your beers his recipes, or are they still all yours?
A few of them are, yeah. And, the beer recipes are kind of fun. I mean, I started out with a good homebrew club here in Pullman that had a number of really accomplished brewers on the homebrew scene. And so those first recipes were all stuff that a bunch of us came up with.
Okay.
And so I'm not claiming that I totally designed every beer. I did do several of them. But a lot of those beers are just collaborative efforts between a bunch of different people.
Okay, nice.
And that makes it fun, too.
Sure. And to go along with that, are you still involved with the homebrew club? Do they meet at your place or anything like that?
They do. They meet at the brewery in the basement once a month, and they're pretty fun to hang out with. There's a lot of smart brewers there, and they do a lot of competitions and a lot of experimental things and stuff. They're pretty active, so it's a lot of fun.
And speaking of that basement, you are in an old post office, right?
Yes. Yep. I actually bought the building in 2002 and did some renovation. It's a beautiful old building that was built in 1930. And some pretty fancy things in there, and much of it's still intact. So
nice.
It's not easy to adapt to a building that wasn't made for a brewery or a restaurant, such as we are, but we make it work, and it's kind of cool. We really enjoy being in there, and it's a neat atmosphere and stuff. So
nice. So
we make it work.
Yeah, that's great. So what's your goal of the brewery? You're going to stay that size to get any bigger?
Well, we'll just kind of take it as it comes. We're primarily a brewer that satisfies the brew pub right now. We're making a little bit of a push now to get out in the market a little bit, but I don't want to get to the point where we outsell our capacity.
Okay.
I think we're probably, maybe 3/4 of the way there, maybe not quite that much.
Mm-hmm.
The building presents some limitations that we're coming up against, and in order for us to get very much bigger, we'd have to expand into another facility. Of course, it's not outside the realm of possibilities, but we're not quite there yet.
Okay. And you do bottle some of your beer, right?
We do. We're bottling 4 of them. We bottle our Poker Face Blonde, the Over the Hop IPA, the Postal Porter, and for the first time this coming week, we're going to bottle the Huckleberry Pucker.
Okay. So do you hand bottle?
Pardon me?
How do you bottle? Do you hand bottle?
No, we hire somebody to come in.
Okay.
To the bottling line, mobile bottling line.
Okay, great. So let's see. Have you guys entered any competitions?
We have. We were in the North American Brew competition last year, and our Dunkelweizen won a gold medal.
Oh, nice.
There. And last year at the Washington Brew Fest, we won a bronze for the Huckleberry Pucker and a silver for our Scottish Stovepipe.
Nice.
Haven't entered a lot of stuff, but a couple of them, and we've been happy with the results.
Yeah, definitely. That's very good. So what has been, one of the biggest challenges or obstacles that you've come across?
Well, because we have a restaurant involved too, it just becomes it becomes a pretty big animal. It's like running two businesses under one umbrella in a lot of respects. So that's kind of the biggest challenge, is just keeping it all under control. There's so many costs to control, and the cost of doing business keeps going up, and the margins are kind of slim in the restaurant end of things, and so that's the biggest challenge.
So did you open the restaurant part of it right away when you opened the brewery?
The restaurant was actually open first.
Oh, okay.
I had it. It was a wine bar before that.
Oh, okay.
And when the economy started to sink a little bit in the 2007-8 area, that's when I kind of started really shifting my focus to beer. And so after a couple of years of planning, that's when the brewery came about.
Okay, that makes sense. So you were able to weather the storm, obviously, though.
Yeah, we snuck through.
Yeah, well, that's good. Now, is the beer aspect of it doing better than the wine was?
Yes, it is. Yeah, it's a little bit more resilient, I think.
Okay.
The price point's lower. We're in a college town too, so
Okay.
Where the students are a major portion of the population, so price is important to them.
Right.
So at least in our case, it was a way better move.
Okay. And I saw that you try to source most of your ingredients locally, right?
We do. Of course, a lot of the malting barley is grown on the Palouse. Not a lot of it, but quite a bit of it is.
Mm.
Which is where Pullman is, eastern part of Washington there. We get some honey when we do our honey hefeweizen from a local apiary. Of course, our hops are all from Yakima, so that's kind of local.
Yeah, pretty local.
We get our water from Pullman, every drop.
Okay.
That's pretty local, and that's a major ingredient.
Yeah, that is. Yeah, I don't think I've ever really talked about that with anyone, but yeah, water is a big deal with beer. So, what do you think makes your beer stand out from anybody else's?
Oh boy, that's always a tough question. Of course, it's a labor of love for us, so that's how it stands out in our minds. But,
sure.
I think that most of our beers are pretty well balanced. I think they're even our IPAs. There's one that we make that's kind of way out there, but most of the beers that we make, I think we balance the hops and the malt and any yeast flavors that come about fairly well. So there's nothing that really kind of slaps you in the face in most beers. Now, of course, the sour too. Obviously, with the low pH and the lacto, the tartness sticks out quite a bit. But that's why we add the huckleberry and to balance that back a little bit with some perceived sweetness. It's not actually sweet, but it comes off with a little sweet aroma, so that fools you into thinking that it tastes a little sweet too.
Oh, nice.
But that's it. I think
okay.
Balance everything.
Yeah, well, that's a good thing. All right, so I think that covers it.
Okay.
Thanks for joining us today.
Well, I appreciate the opportunity.
Certainly. All right, thanks to Tom from Paradise Creek. Now let's try another beer. It's the first of the month, and we're going to have a third beer this episode. And this time we have a Cascade Pilsner by Sail Brewing from Bend, Oregon, and it's 6% ABV.
Full Sail is independent and employee.
Sorry, they're from Hood River.
It's important that you make sure you know that.
Yeah, they're from Hood River. I'm sorry.
Full Sail is independent and employee owned. Full Sail Brewing Company is perched on a bluff in Hood River, Oregon, as we just corrected, overlooking the most epic wind and kite surfing spot in the world. Swing by and sample their award-winning brews, grab a bite, and soak up the view.
All right, this actually looks like it's even lighter, more golden than the Sieben Brau. If you looked at it, you might think it's one of those big brands.
I'm sure it tastes much better.
Much better.
Full Sail says that their Cascade Pilsner is inspired by classic European Pilsners. This beer is really a celebration of the fresh local Cascade hops grown by family farmers right here in our beloved Pacific Northwest. It has intense aromas of citrus and pine, supported by a medium body and dry, malty palate. As you savor that unmistakable aroma and long, clean hop finish, tip your hat and your glass to the generations of hop farmers who help us live the Lagavulin dream every day.
Yeah, that's got some nice hops to it. That's a good beer. I do like that one. And we will be right back after a local music break from the Spider Ferns.
that was the Spider Ferns, Distant Meadows. You can check them out at spiderferns.bandcamp.com.
Hi, this is Mike.
And Michelle.
And we are at the Bacon and Beer Classic here on May 2nd at Safeco Field. And it's been a pretty interesting event so far. So far, tons of brewers. Yes, there's over 50 breweries, over 30 different restaurants, and a beautiful day out trying beers from across the state, and all kinds of bacon-inspired beers. So it's been pretty cool. So far, Michelle, what was the best food you tried?
Definitely the porter donut with bacon cream in it.
Yeah, that was pretty good. The sausage I just had was pretty good. There was a couple other things. There's always the good BLT. Those are always tasty. Actually, the clam chowder with bacon was actually pretty good, too. So, a few things that were definitely enjoyable. Lots of good beer, too. And the awards came in just today from the Bacon and Beer Classic. And we went to the evening session, but there was also the brunch session, and the best overall winner was from Boom Noodle, 2 years running for their bacon ramen burger. That was good.
Very good.
That was something that you would never think of. They take ramen noodles, they soften them, then they fry them in a pan in the shape of a bun and put two sides together with stuff in the middle of it. That's pretty good.
Bacon. You got to remember the bacon in there.
Yeah, definitely the bacon. In the evening, the best sweet dish was Frost, the bacon donuts and cupcakes. And that was some pretty good stuff. Best overall, though, Radiator Whiskey, bacon sausage. And the winning beers, best fruit beer, Two Towns Cider House for their Imperial Hop and Stalk. Best slow and low beer was Snoqualmie Brewing for their Bunghole Double Brown Ale. And the best smooth and easy beer for Silver City Brewing, their Ziggy Zoggy Summer Lager, which is a good beer. Do like that one. And lastly, the best hard and fast beer, the hop heavy one, Northwest Brewing for the Hoppy Bitch. So that was a good time at the Bacon and Beer Classic. So check it out for next year. And the next event that we will be at will be the Washington Brewers Festival.
Yep. And
our last beer of the night. This time we have Son of Birdserker by Black Raven Brewing. 5% ABV. And I just want to say that I am using my Elysian Brewing bottle opener that I received at the Bacon and Beer Classic.
As beer lovers themselves, they say their mission is simple. Brew beer that they want to drink. They do not limit themselves to style guidelines or how they should brew any beer. They beer it their way and hope enough folks like it because they cannot drink it all, even though they try sometimes. They brew on a 15-barrel brew house with a mix of 15 and 30-barrel fermentation tanks. Their annual production capacity is currently 8,000 barrels, but the brewery is constantly growing to keep up with Washington's hearty appetite for delicious craft beer.
Yep, this one, a little darker color on this one. Super hoppy smell to it.
Black Raven says the Son of Birdserker is brewed in the Session IPA style. This beer presents the hop bitterness and flavor of an IPA, but in a more refreshing, lower alcohol version. Hop varieties include Bravo, Nugget, Calypso, and Comet.
Yeah, very easy on the palate there. I could see how 5% ABV, you could definitely get a couple of those down. But, yeah, that's the first Black Raven I've tried. And that's a pretty good beer. I like that. I do like my IPAs.
You do like your IPAs.
But that was good.
You belong in the Northwest after all.
Yep. And that brings us to the end of this episode of Northwest Brew Talk.
Make sure that you tune in next week when we chat with Brickyard Brewing in Woodinville.
And the show is produced and edited by me with engineering help from Michelle Rizzo.
And if you want to contact us, you can also email us at nwbrewtalk@gmail.com or give us a call at 541-595-TALK. That's 541-595-8255.
Until next time, I'm Mike Rizzo.
And I'm Michelle Rizzo.
Stay hopping, my friends.